Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Twin Flames, the Great Spiritual Awakening podcast, where every week you can hear real life stories from people who have answered the call of divine love. To quickly introduce myself, my name is Dennis. I've been on my Twin Flame journey for several years now and applied the teachings of union from Twin Flames universe in my own life, which led me to finding my true twin flame that I am now living in union with. For this episode today, I am really happy to have you with me, Twin Flames in Union, Isaiah and Sage. Hello, guys. How are you doing?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hey,
Doing good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being here. This is a pleasure. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing everything about your journey, because you two have a very unique union, so to say. You're both transgender, and that's something that you've discovered for both of you, like after you've started on your twin flame journey. And you know, I feel like because a lot of your journey has been about really finding your true self and realigning back to that, I've always felt that you have a very unique and very just special perspective to share on what it means to go on this journey of finding yourself. And and that's why I'm really looking forward to hearing about you, about the journey of finding yourself. And yeah, my very first question for you is actually, for how many years have you been on your twin flame journey and applying the teachings of union now?
How many has it been for you?
I started like March of 2018, so it's been 4 years.
Wow, 4 years.
A little over 4 years. Yeah.
And then I came in right after you.
Yeah.
I think so. For me, it's been, I guess, about like 3.5 years then, because Sage kind of came in first and started the teachings first. And
well, yeah, you come in June of 2018.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like right after.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. I actually came in around that same time. I think it actually was March 2018.
Wow, that's cool.
I remember. Yeah, I remember seeing you from the beginning.
Yeah, we were in the same discussion group back then.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So in this entire time, I've seen your journey, I've seen posts from you, I've seen you also, your transformation and everything. So my first, what I'm curious about, if you look back at that time before you found Twin Flames Universe from like 3.5 years ago, how do you feel like your sense of self, of who you are, has changed in this time period?
It's both. It's a big question.
I know, kind of throwing you in the cold water.
Okay, well, it's changed deep. It's been deep, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like super earth-shattering either, because, well, the thing is, like, the version of myself who I was before finding Jeff and Shalia, Twin Flames Universe, teachings of union, like, I don't really, that self was based partly on things that just were, illusions. Like, for example, like how I thought of myself as, being a man before that journey, or growing up thinking I was a boy. And so, things like that, but also just, so many aspects of myself. And so it's not, it doesn't feel like a big change, because it feels like just coming home to who I am. And you kind of like lose, you like lose, not lose sight of, but like, it's not really on my mind, like the past, like the self I was before then, because I'm like, well, it's really not relevant to me now. Only like as I continue to examine and look at all the parts of myself and be like, yeah, like, who am I really? And, loving myself there and everything like that, so, but yeah, it's been a really deep change, because, when I came to this community, in March of 2018. It's really funny, the timing of this, because when I came in, you remember, I still went by my male name. I was assigned at birth. I identified as the divine feminine, like as a feminine being, feminine, and as in my soul, but I was still like identifying as a man. Then, and I knew that my twin flame was the masculine. And then, I remember, and that came out in my first discussion group. My leader, Christina Fernandez, who was on this last week, I think. I had
exactly.
She was in my dream last night too.
Yeah.
Which is really sweet. But she was like, she's like, I think you're a divine feminine. And I was like, I think so too. And so that really kicked it off. And I was like, yeah, that feels right to me. So, but I didn't quite, I came out when a community member asked me like if I was trans, or implied I was trans, since I was like a divine feminine soul, but in the male body. And so I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I might actually be, because I had realized before that I was trans earlier in my life, a year earlier. And at the time I was like, well, I got this great revelation. At the time I was like too, I don't know. I faced all these upsets of like, oh my God, how's my life going to be when I come out as a woman? And at the time I kind of like was swayed by the pressure of other people and what they thought, like, see, that's kind of the theme that was coming up for me even before this podcast, is that I was like, well, if someone I trust and respect thinks that I'm not really a woman, maybe I'm not. So I went back into the closet. But then somebody who I trusted and respected suggested I was trans, and I looked into it and I felt into it. I could face all of the upsets that came up with it, because I needed to love myself there so I could feel safe in coming out as transgender and know that I would be loved principally by God and by myself, like by my creator, and also by people who are around me, frankly. And you and like this community, you being like this community, have always loved me and supported me. So it was amazing. So I could finally come out and be myself and have a supportive environment to, heal really and explore there. So, and I actually came out June of 2018. So it was like right when I came out, basically Isaiah like entered the forum like immediately. So, and I didn't know him at the time, or know of him, or maybe soon after, but so funny how that works. I feel like that's like a big theme for people. Big revelation, discovery, bam, your twin flame comes, and then the rest is recognize, like the journey is internal, like love yourself and recognize who you are, recognize who they are to you.
You claimed yourself, and then I came closer.
Yeah.
It was into the community.
It was immediately.
Wow, that's cool.
I didn't think about that correlation before.
There was a correlation. It's funny.
Yeah.
And I had like a session of like a reading, because Shalia, I had ordered a reading from her that she gave back then, a romance, astrology, and numerology related reading. And she, after that was when I came out, like a couple weeks after. And she was like, emailed me personally and was like, congratulations. And I can feel it's a big relief to your divine masculine and your union that you came out. And I was like, thanks, I feel that too. And then, like I told you, like literally soon after, he did actually like find the community. It's so funny, but it's true. So true.
That's really cool. And what you're sharing, I feel, just to mention that this journey of like finding yourself, that like every person on the twin flame journey is going through that. Like obviously, when you going through that in a gender related way, I'm too, but like for every person, regardless of, you know, whether you have to hear things with your gender and your identity, you're still going to go through like an identity transformation. So everything that you're sharing is like relatable to, or like applies to, no matter in what your union looks like.
Definitely. I also, it's interesting you said that and that you brought that up, because when you first asked the question, it made me think like, of course I went through figuring out who I am in my gender as a man, but also like knowing that I am a divine being, like that I didn't have to be depressed and anxious, which was really what I was going through in a big way before I found this work and before I found Twin Flames Universe and the mirror exercise, because I definitely thought or felt that I was going to have to, you know, be on depression and anxiety medication my whole life, because that's kind of the one thing that I found that where I felt relief. But then when I started loving myself and figuring out who I am and, you know, doing the mirror exercise and taking like participating with Twin Flame Ascension School classes, I got to a point, we were just talking about this today, I got to a point where the amount of depression and anxiety medication that I was taking, my body started rejecting it. Like I got a fever, and like I knew that I had to reduce my medication because my body was rejecting it because I was too happy. Like I was at a point where I was so happy that, or like the serotonin in my brain was like enough that I didn't need that support anymore. So I was able to lower my amount that I was taking, which was incredible to me because I literally healed myself like physically and spiritually to a point where I was able to reduce something that I was depending on to be able to like function. And so I think in a huge way, it was me claiming my masculinity and that I am a man, because that me coming into knowing myself and my true gender was a massive relief for me. And I've found so much peace and groundedness in that realization and in that healing for myself. But it also just doing this work and loving myself also in general, and knowing myself as a whole being, and that I am a child of God and that I am divine, that too, all of it has brought me so much relief in just being able to relax and to like live my life in a more relaxed way, and finding like comfort in knowing myself and in feeling good, like feeling good with knowing that I am love and that I am able to give that love to myself too. Yeah, all of it's been really relieving. And that's kind of also for people listening, like that's how you know who you are, is when you feel that it's that deep peace or that deep relief. That's like how you know who you are, is in that peace and in that relief.
I love that. And that's really remarkable that you've experienced these huge like shifts also when it comes to not needing to take medication anymore.
That's I mean, that's a miracle. That's a physical, like that's a miracle. Like if anyone has been able to heal their body, especially when it comes to mental health, like and just for reference, before that, I only ever increased my medication. And then like I was able to get to a point where I was decreasing it. I had never, ever done that before in my life. And it's because I chose to go on a healing journey and was healing myself with love. And this isn't just spiritual. This is real, grounded, physical healing, like as effective as medication. because I was able to reduce mine.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, it's
Absolutely.
really cool.
How did the two of you initially found Jeff and Shalia and Twin Flames Universe?
Yeah, how did you go first?
Okay, how to find them? Let me see. What is the best way to tell the story? I was searching for twin flame stuff. I guess to give context. So the main thing I was going through was, so I, obviously I had come out as a woman in 2017. I had my first experience of like, I don't know. Well, we're always communicating with God, but consciously communicating with him. When I was asking him my name, and he like literally answered. And so, and I had experiences of like having visions of like what my real life purpose was, which I knew was something having to do with spirituality, and it would be a creative, artistic kind of expression. But as I told you, like I had no idea how to not do that, but just how to love myself enough to, be able to come to that place where I could actually feel confident enough to do it and feel connected enough to love. I realized later that I needed to really like pay attention to myself and love myself. And because I had gone through that entire thing of like, oh my God, I realized my real gender, but then I decided against it, it caused a lot of psychological turmoil in me. And it was a very vulnerable time emotionally. And that was kind of like my soul calling in what I needed in order to finally turn toward God and turn toward love and spirituality. And I realized that I was going to like meet my love, like the love of my life. I did end up I met someone, I had a false twin flame experience through that, but at the time it was what I needed to like believe like, oh my God, there's something, love is real and there's something beyond what I've been experiencing. Like everything that I knew in my heart since I was a little girl, like that true love was real and I had my man, and that there was something mystical and spiritual beyond everyday stuff, I guess, in his life. I realized that was true. And so I was like, oh my God. But then I realized that, well, I lost contact with that person. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So after a while, I was like, I've had enough. So I Googled twin flames. I YouTubed twin flames. If that's a verb. And I found I didn't resonate with most of the stuff, but one of the first videos I found was by Fabian in this community, Fabian Schultz. And I was like, Fabian is cool. Like he knows what he's talking about. And oh my God, this is the stuff, and like he's following the right people. And I checked out Jeff and Shalia's videos too, and I was like, these people know what the hell they're talking about. This is real shit. So I found Fabian, the community, and Jeff and Shalia, and I joined the forum.
How about you, Isaiah? How did you?
I was also through YouTube. So
YouTube is the portal. YouTube is the portal.
It kind of is.
It is.
Yeah.
Which is awesome though. But I actually remember also seeing one of Fabian's mirror exercise video. I was like, damn, this guy is peaceful.
Yeah.
You know? But I actually, I went on YouTube and I searched twin flames, and at the time I was identifying as masculine, and I also knew that I was gay, so that's what I was identifying as at the time. So on YouTube I saw that there was an LGBTQ twin flame video, and I watched that, and there really wasn't much about LGBTQ twin flames. and I really was so happy to find a video that included LGBTQ people like with twin flames, because I knew that I had a twin flame and I really wanted to find her, you know. So
Yeah.
I found that video and it really resonated with me. And then I found the community and started coaching. And yeah, I just really felt the love from the community, from the Twin Flames Universe community, and I felt that I could really heal myself with Twin Flame Ascension School classes, and you know, being a part of this community, and it felt really good, and that's how it all started. You know.
That's really cool. So when you found the community, you already knew that you're the divine masculine, and you knew that your twin flame is a woman, right? Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, I wasn't like really concrete in it, but I was really concrete in the fact that I loved the feminine and I loved women. And I definitely felt that I was the masculine. I was kind of, you know, unfolding deeper into that understanding and what that means, and how that feels for myself. I was definitely at a place of having some sort of knowing that I was masculine, but I was definitely going deeper into that understanding. And I found community. Yeah.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
Sage has already shared a bit of her journey of how she came to realize that she's the divine feminine and first questioned her identity. So I'm wondering, in your case, when did all of that start for you? Is that something you knew from an early age, or something that you discovered in the course of your life later on?
Yeah, so it's something that I definitely felt like in high school, about around high school age. I started, you know, it started for me with sexuality. You know, I only felt feelings for, like, really deep feelings for the feminine and for women. And I I became, you know, really like kind of depressed because it was always unreciprocated love. And that's when I found out about twin flames. I was like, oh, this is it. Like, this is what my heart has been searching for. And I knew I wanted her, and that she was here somewhere, you know, on this planet with me. So when I was relating to women, or the women that I had, you know, which the women that awakened me to the fact that you know, my sexuality was different than what I thought it was, or that you know, I definitely felt like in relating to them that I was definitely masculine, and had a more masculine perspective on in those relationships. And that's kind of what woke me up to the fact that I feel like I'm definitely a masculine person, and there is more for me to uncover within myself here, so that I can really kind of figure out who I am in relationships too, because I always kind of felt lost and just unrequited, or that unreciprocated feeling. And I really knew that I had to figure out for myself, who am I who am I with myself, but who am I when it comes in a relationship too? And I really was able to go on that like deeper journey of self-discovery when I found this work because I was able to kind of feel into what felt peaceful for me and what felt relieving for me and what didn't. And, you know, also feel what kind of grounded me. And that for me has always been masculinity. It has always been claiming my manhood. And I just always felt like this deep, just deep relief when I was able to kind of relax into the masculine energy that is myself.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead, Sage.
Oh, I was just saying, didn't in the past, didn't some, like, the people, like your karmic partner or something, was like the relationship with you felt like she was interacting with a man?
Oh
yeah,
it was, that's
that.
interesting.
She was like,
so when I was with a karmic partner who kind of awakened me to the twin flame journey, she would always make comments like, you remind me of my past boyfriends. Like, why does it feel like you're like, I'm with one of my exes, or like I'm with my like ex-boyfriend or something. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I kind of liked that she would say those things. And because it made me feel more comfortable. And I didn't even realize at the time, but I was kind of relaxing into the fact in that moment that, oh, like, I definitely have the more masculine perspective here, and that I liked being the man in the relationship, and that I liked it because it's who I am.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just humorous. Like, she's like, you know, wasn't it?
And, you know, at the time I wasn't identifying as a man,
right?
It's definitely something that helped me to discover that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
She's like, don't you avoid these dynamics in like a gay relationship? My man problems. And it's like, well, maybe not, if that person's like deep down, if that person is really there. I just found that humorous.
I get you.
Not that that's like, it's not a bad thing. It's like saying like, oh, it brings that up for healing so that you can find peace there. Yeah, with yourself.
So after you found Twin Flames Universe and the community and really started applying the teaching and healing yourself, do you remember when you came into contact for the first time, when you talked to each other for the first time?
When was the first time we talked? I feel like it was when we were in a group together, weren't we?
You were in my group.
Oh yeah, I was in your group.
Yeah, he was in my group coaching class.
Oh my God.
That was the first time, because I know I had seen him around in the open forum of Twin Flames Universe. But I don't think we had interacted there. I don't remember. Not
really. I definitely remember reading your posts.
Yeah.
But we didn't really interact like on a more personal level other than that until the group.
Yeah, I don't know, but I remember that you were in my group coaching class that I offered. I offered it for a month, and it was from January to February, and it ended on Valentine's Day. That was the last day of it, which was funny and cute looking back. But he was in the group coaching class.
Yeah,
and he was there.
Yep, I was in your class, and I also got a music reading from Sage.
Yeah,
which she doesn't remember giving me, but I remember it.
Yeah,
because it was really, I loved it. I thought it was really beautiful. It was a great reading, and
I remember it.
You do remember?
Yeah, I don't remember the songs, but I remember
it was Beatles songs.
It was. Ew. Yeah, that's cool. We always like bonded over Beatles songs at first.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like the Beatles. They haven't been huge in my life or anything, but I don't know. That was, yeah.
that was definitely a beautiful moment, I feel. And then I feel like the biggest, most intimate connection we had before we had the realization that we were twin flames was Sage interviewed me.
Oh my God, there's a ladybug on you.
There is?
There's a ladybug on Isaiah's shirt collar right now. Oh my God, that's such a sign. That's so symbolic. It's so cute.
That's awesome.
Really
I love ladybugs.
I haven't seen any ladybugs in our house either.
It's a miracle.
So that's cool.
Isaiah loves ladybugs too, because remember they symbolize like trans masculinity for you.
Yeah.
You said that.
And also they're just a symbol, I think, of like luck.
Yeah.
And goodness.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there.
I think I see it. Yes, I do. Indeed. That's really cute. I've always had ladybugs as like a twin flame sign on my journey, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I love that.
No way. So it's like a sign for you too? Oh, that's cute.
I've seen them like in the weirdest settings, like in the middle of winter or stuff like that. I was like, where is that ladybug coming from in the middle of winter? And that's really cute.
Actually, it's interesting you say that, because that reminds me when Sage and I came into Harmonious Union, one of the first signs I saw were ladybugs, and it was also in January. It was in the winter.
Wow.
So it's cool. Thank you, Ladybug.
Oh.
But sorry, what was I saying
before?
You were talking about when Sage interviewed you.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that was one of the most intimate and really cool moments for us, because we really just connected in that interview.
Yeah.
And there were some really cool signs as well while we were while she was interviewing me. And that was the first time that I was really telling my story for we were going to put it on YouTube, so for others to hear about my coming out as a man, and she was the one to interview me for that. And this was before we realized we were twin flames, and I think that was like the most the time I felt most connected to you after that, from that interview, and after that interview.
Yeah, because it was deep connection then. It was like a deep dive into like our intimacy, our relationship, our friendship, a romance a little bit. And those are all like one and the same purpose. Communicating about LGBT and our journeys. It was cool. So yeah, that was really nice.
So from there, how did you then realize that you're twin flames? How did all of that happen?
Yeah, it was kind of I guess sudden, but there were signs and stuff, and it was building. Interestingly, we talked a while after our interview. We just kept talking, and it was fun and it was flowing. It was easy to connect, and I was like, asking Isaiah if he would marry me and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
And he was like, I'm already married.
Well, at that time, we thought that other people were our twin flames.
Yeah.
But so I was like, wait, we're married to other people.
Technically.
But
no,
we weren't. We never were.
The phrase he used was like ambiguous. He was like, we are already married.
Oh yeah, I did say that.
This was the literal phrasing. So it's ambiguous. It could be interpreted.
Yes.
Anyway. In the other way, yeah.
Yep. And then he was like, escándalo. And like it's a scandal. And but it was funny. And so, and we kept talking a little bit, and I considered going out for Christmas to meet him on the way to a trip to be with my family. But then I was like, no. I'm like, oh, it's not financially wise, whatever. And so anyway, we kept doing our healing, and I was coming to a place where I was like, it's okay if my twin flame is someone other different than the false twin flame guy, who I now know to be a false twin flame. I was like, yeah, it might be somebody else, because I'm like, I've been doing this work for a year and plus, almost 2 years. And I was like, well, he hasn't manifested this whole time. So I was like, and I feel peaceful. I love myself a lot. And I feel like, I'm probably coming close to the vibration of harmonious union. I'd felt that many times before, and I was like, yeah, but still have some work to do. But this time I was like, yeah, kind of feel like I'm coming close to that. So, and I was like, yeah, I'm open. And I had some trust issues and some spiritual arrogance to work through, like in early January of 2020, right before I came into harmonious union with Isaiah. And right before it was revealed that we were twins, I was like, in order for me to be open to receiving help and guidance on such a sensitive topic, I feel like I had to clear away some arrogance and some fear of like trusting others to lead me, guide me, and help me on my spiritual journey. And so, but all the signs were gradually pointing toward Isaiah being my twin, someone else being my twin, and it being Isaiah. And then so after I'd kind of healed through and was upheaving a bunch of stuff about this, like arrogance and issues of trust and guidance, then I manifested, like I received a message from Jeff actually, and he was like, hey, we have like a blessing to share with you, and would you like to can you get on a video call with us soon? And I was like, yeah. And so we set that up for the next day, and I got on the call with them, and Shalia was like, hey, so you've been having a false twin flame experience, like straight up. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, yeah, okay. I guess that makes sense because all this time I haven't manifested him. And she's like, yeah, and that pretty much makes sense. And then, they were like, Jeff and Shalia were like, hey, what do you feel in your heart? Could it be someone in this community who's your twin? So I felt in my heart. I got out my love list that I had, Jeff and Shalia asked me to pull it out, and I had written it back a while back, all the qualities of like who is my twin flame, like who is my man. And when I read that love list, I was feeling into it, and I was like, with every item on that love list, my heart had a profoundly peaceful feeling, like resonance, peace, a feeling of rightness. There was like a feeling of like oneness with Isaiah, like a seamlessness of our relationship. And I was like, this fits like a glove. It fits like a well-tailored gown, a nice dress, like, what I mean? It's perfect. And I was like recognizing that this was my man. And I was like, wow, he's like most of everything on this list. And if not right now, then, it's like one of those things where like, that's who he is, but you've got to like, you're healing and you're coming into who you are and growing into it. And so I was like, wow, like I couldn't deny what my heart was saying. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely it. This is definitely it. And I just embraced it. And I was like surprised. And I realized that was my twin. And I was going to go deeper into healing my sexuality and my gender identity, because he was trans too. And I was like, so we're going to delve deeper into this. And that's how we realized that we were twins. And it was really, that was a profound moment.
Definitely.
And I called Isaiah, and he was like in his car. It was
cool. Sage called me, and it was in the middle of the workday, but I just so happened to just be like sitting in my car, and I was able to answer the phone, and she talked to me, and revealed that she spoke with Jeff and Shalia, and that they brought up that, and she felt in her heart that we're twin flames.
It was like a rare moment too, like that, because he would drive like hours or an hour or something, right? For commutes, and he happened to be on a break.
It was pretty crazy because I wasn't supposed to be on a break, but I just happened to be.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so I talked with Sage on the phone, and it was definitely a profound big moment for both of us. And um, yeah, it was really interesting. I think one of the main ways that I felt that we were one was when we came together physically.
Yeah.
Like just being with Sage in her presence, I had this like clearing of all of my chakras, which
Wow.
I had never felt before. It was really cool. Um, and yeah, I could feel this deep sense of like whole, like this complete feeling.
Mm.
Because like I found my twin flame because we
Mhm.
are
Yeah.
one. So I just really felt this feeling of being complete. And that was, yeah, our
Yeah.
revealing. That's how we kind
Oh,
of felt for ourselves that we were twin
Yeah.
flames.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a beautiful coming together story.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was sweet. It was very sweet.
Yeah.
And I believe you moved in really quickly after finding out that you're twin flames, right?
Fairly. There was a little
It
bit
was
of a
about
delay.
4 months after.
Okay.
Or sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we moved, well, I moved out to Arizona, and we were
Mhm.
together in an Airbnb for a little while.
Yeah. We were in an
Um,
Airbnb. That was fun.
yeah.
Yeah. It was on like a farm. It had
was.
chickens. They were clucking next door to us all the
You
time.
could hear the
The
roosters
roosters
don't just crow in the
crowing.
morning, they crow at all hours.
They crow at all hours.
Oh my
Only
God.
if the lighting, urban roosters crow at all hours because the bright lights cause their clock to be a little,
Little off.
off.
Mm-mm.
So they're always crowing. That was so
That was
cute.
really fun.
That was so adorable.
Yeah, that was a fun way to come
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
Just being on this like farm.
Mhm. How sweet it was.
Yeah, and yeah, we were in 2 Airbnbs, and then we found an apartment together, which we were able to be in
Yeah,
together. Yeah.
that was nice.
What has living together with your twin flame be like, especially when you look back to the difference of what it was like when you were living alone?
Different when living alone. Well, it's definitely like everything is like more it's just brought into the physical and a bit more like bigger, like amplified. It feels whole, it feels whole and complete. Because like I would have like today, for example, I was being to Isaiah, like I was like, oh Isaiah, I love you, you're so whatever, handsome or whatever, you're so this or that. And I would like have those feelings, and I would say those things in my heart anyway, like in my twin flame journey beforehand. Now I just say it to him in the physical. So, but before I just said it in the heart and the spiritual, I guess, realm, and physically too, although he wasn't there physically. And that, so it's more, the emotions are more clear, I guess, and intense or full, or how could you say, yeah, it's more the immediate mirroring. Like if you have something upset in your consciousness, you heal it, you have healing and clarity and peace, and then immediately there's peace in your relationship. And that's amazing. There's never been anything like that in my whole life.
Yeah.
Being alone, like sometimes there was like solitude can be good, like when you're working things out, like sometimes you need some space, you just want to sit with just you and God and just sit and heal or enjoy things, and that's fine. But overall though, like it doesn't really feel different from being by myself before. It feels just like more of myself is here, or all of myself is how's it feel? Like all of myself is like right there with me. It's right there with me, represented in the flesh. So it's like, you know what I mean? So that's how that feels, and compared to being just alone, so to speak. Yeah.
For me, it was a huge relief because I had been living with my parents before,
Mhm.
and was very not a good
Yeah.
situation. But when I came to live with Sage, there was like, oh man, such a deep relief in that. And I felt this underlying peace in us being together. And that was really nice after what I had been experiencing.
Mhm.
I would also say that, it's true that everything is amplified, the good and the bad, for
Yeah,
sure.
but for your good, so it's
Right.
abundantly clear to you what's going on, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's harder to avoid stuff, which is not a bad thing.
Right.
Avoidance never helped anybody,
Exactly.
you know.
Um, yeah. So living with Sage has been much more relieving than how it was before. Even I was living with my parents, or I've lived with roommates or things like that, but it feels like when I'm living with my twin flame with Sage, there's something really honest that I have to get really honest about with where I'm at and where we are at in our like foundation and our stability in our union. And I love that because it's really like when it's just me and Sage, I really get to see exactly where I'm at. And there's something really amazing about that because when you get to see that, like you only get to see that when you're um, like fully with your twin flame, because it's all of yourself. So it's like wherever you are at is perfect, and you should accept where you're at. And it also gives you perfect clarity of where you need to heal and where you're going to really create that stability and that true foundation for your harmonious union to be able to thrive and to sustain that.
Awesome. One thing that I also want to ask you in the last 10 minutes or so that we have left is also shortly after you moved in together, like I believe a couple of months or so after moving in together, you started with your physical transition journey. So I'm wondering how that has been for you, and also what your experience has been with both of you going through that.
Hmm.
Do you want to start with where you started with your transition, or?
Oh, like when I started my transition?
Yeah, sure.
I can. Yeah, that's where we want to go. But yeah, you can. Well, you started in May, actually, of 2020.
Yeah.
May of 2020. It was like soon after we came together, you start transitioning physically.
Yeah.
Since you'd been with your parents and they were not accepting whatsoever, so there wasn't a feeling of safety to.
Yeah, I definitely did.
Or
I didn't feel
comfort.
safe to be myself.
Yeah, to physically transition.
Yeah.
And then you could come to live with me. You could come to me and start physically transitioning. It would be a safe space to do that. It was
hugely relieving. I was really excited too that I could start taking testosterone and just really like claim myself on that really deep level of starting the physical transition. And yeah,
it was cool to witness.
It was
awesome. It was very relieving. It's fascinating too, because our transitions are not only physical together, but also spiritual. And so you can always tell if one of us, we always go through all healing together, but if one of us is like, oh, I'm healing, I'm moving through stuff with my gender and claiming who I am, the other always feels better too after it, more solid in who we are, more knowing who we are. And it's really cool. You can see that very, very clearly when you're in union with your twin, just, oh my God, all the spiritual stuff being parallel mirrored.
Yeah.
So that's been cool.
Gender is always a huge thing for us, as we're always going deeper into our masculinity and femininity and claiming ourselves. And Yeah, so I've been on testosterone for over 2 years now,
Oh yeah.
which has been just awesome. And um, I've really loved seeing the physical changes within myself and allowing myself to grow spiritually with those physical changes.
Yeah.
Um, I've just had top surgery as well. It's
Mhm.
been about 2 months now since top
Yeah.
surgery. And it's really incredible because I can feel, the physical claiming for me has also, I feel this deeper um, peace and groundedness spiritually as well as I go deeper. They're kind of hand in hand, when I go deeper spiritually or physically, I always feel just more grounded in who I am. And that's how it's been going through my transition. And I can also say that, whenever upsets do come up, um, like when I have to take my testosterone or something, I feel it spiritually and physically. And I always feel um, more relaxed in my transition when I heal those upsets
Mhm.
that come up, and heal the spiritual and emotional. And then, maybe I won't experience pain when I take my T shot or something, or sometimes I do, and I'm like, there's something I need to heal there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's been really awesome to just do do these hand in hand because it's all one. The transition is the spiritual, emotional, and physical is all one
Mhm.
Mhm.
when it comes to transitioning.
Yeah. And this the teaching, this community, the teachings of union, everything, the mere exercise, it offers something really big to transgender people because you can get clear on what you need to do and who you really are by healing your upsets, because instead of making a decision based on an upset, like something that doesn't feel good, you can heal your upset. You can get clear on what feels good once you're clear of that upset, and then you can proceed. And
Mhm.
for me, like, a big thing for me has been like having some sort of like spiritual process to go through, where like having upsets with femininity and with being a woman, and having these conceptions of like that there are things about being a woman that aren't good for me or feel bad, and
Mhm.
they're from like ego, separation, societal conditioning, blah blah blah, family trauma
Mhm.
patterns. And so I can unpack those and love myself, and that affects how I feel about my transition too. I think to anybody who is listening and is considering whether they are transgender, or maybe you are transitioning, but you sometimes people do have doubts about it as they transition,
Mhm.
then you can, like, you may feel shaken by if some people don't accept you, or if you're not appearing good or satisfying, you don't feel satisfied with your appearance and things like that. And you're like, well, is this really who I am? Well, what you would do in all of those cases is you would love yourself, heal those upsets by loving yourself, within. Then you can get clear on, well, what is this? Like, who am I? Yeah.
Mhm.
That's been instrumental for me.
Mhm.
A lot of the stuff I work through has been about that, precisely because of like, well, oh, do I perceive something advantageous of being masculine versus feminine? And it's like not true, because why would we as divine beings be created where the feminine gets the short end of the stick, masculine gets the good deal by design? That doesn't make any
Mhm.
sense. And if you feel that, you just need to go to that part of yourself and love her or him,
Mhm.
get clear on what that is. Yeah, 'cause it's
Mhm.
not meant to be that way.
Right.
So
Mhm.
that's my speech.
You know, I feel what you bring up is really important, and I relate a lot to it too on my journey. Just like I've had the other side of the coin, with like feeling that the divine masculine gets the short end of the stick, which again obviously isn't true, but that's been my journey of really just like uncovering all the false beliefs I have, and really realizing that, you know, we're created equal in God, and just like healing through these like false conceptions. But what the two of you really brought up very well is that, like, with every transition journey, it's really important for the inner, the spiritual, and the outer to go hand in hand. And I think that's really the beauty that, like, the teachings of union bring when it comes to transgender people, that you really, obviously, you know, we have everything is there to go through that physical transformation, but the teachings of union really bring the spiritual component that is such a vital piece to go through the entire experience in peace.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important to do that. And it's like, if there are barriers to, or if there's a feeling of like, it's time to take this action step physically, then it is time. Like, and I've always felt that, like, I started transitioning hormonally in July of 2018, and I realized I was a woman for the second and last time, I guess, like, I committed to it or whatever in June of 2018. So a month later, I started hormonally transitioning, because to me, knowing what I knew about myself with the degree of confidence I had, it wouldn't have felt good to not do that. Because I'd be like, well, I know I desire this. It feels peaceful to me. Of course, I've had upsets to work through along the way, like being like, what gives me attractiveness? What gives me self-esteem? My body or my choice and my feelings about myself? But just because you have those feelings and upsets to work through doesn't mean don't go through with the thing. It's just like on the other side of the coin, if you're only doing transitional stuff because you have feelings that are bad that you want to go away, and you haven't addressed it emotionally, like by loving yourself, I would really suggest or recommend loving yourself there first, because that way, once you take those steps, you'll feel truly at peace, and you won't have that programming in your mind that is like, oh, that's fixed, but there's something else amiss with you. There's something else wrong. It's like, oh, come on. You know, like that happens with people. It's called, you know, that happens whether you're transgender or cisgender, like born with a body corresponding to your gender.
Absolutely.
I can definitely say that before I started my physical transition and I was just doing my spiritual work and on my spiritual journey, I felt very masculine. I felt my male body, because I could feel the divinity of, because that's my divine body. I could feel my divine self, because I was choosing to love myself there and just be myself and feel with myself. And that is really all you need, and the physical comes with that, and it follows that, and it's hand in hand. But like, you don't need the outside to feel fulfilled. That comes from the inner first.
It's cool.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Oh, and I was gonna say, sorry, and as an aside, and this is in Twin Flame Ascension School, and it was important to Isaiah as his journey and me, but in the classes it's mentioned with the experiences of some students that there's like, you can spiritually feel your divine body as someone who is trans, and it feels really cool. I can feel that with myself too. It's almost like having a phantom limb. Like sometimes people, excuse me, but this is true. So sometimes when people lose the limb, like an arm or something through some sort of event, they will feel it still. And they literally have this phantom feeling of like, my arm is still there. It's because in divine truth, you always have an arm. You didn't lose it. And of course it's still there. I never thought of this before, but I feel like it's spiritually connected connecting to your arm that you have, despite the physical. And I feel the same way with like my body, like the divine truth of my body being female. Like there's a spiritual physical sensation that's almost like having phantom limbs or something. And it's really cool. And this is real. And you can access these feelings through self-love. And yes.
Well, everyone who didn't listen until the very end will miss this really cool bit.
Yes. See, that's why it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have 2 short questions for you so we can wrap this up.
Sure.
One question to just kind of conclude everything that you shared about your transition journey is, I'm wondering what for you personally your biggest lesson has been from going through this transition journey.
That's a good question.
Should I say?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. For me, it's been just to really love myself, and to, instead of like looking at others and seeing how will they love me? Will they see me? Will they do this or that? That for me, that will make me happy, just going within and giving that to myself.
Mine was the exact same as you, which is, at Twin Flames, we always have the same core, everything. But yeah, for me, the biggest lesson throughout the transition has just been that to love myself first, and that my fulfillment and who I am and feeling the strength and the truth of who I am comes from the inner and from loving myself first, and everything follows that.
Very powerful. So coming to my very last question, this is the questions that I always ask at the end, so I have to include this too. If you could go back to the very beginning of your journey and give that version of yourself a piece of advice or a message, what would that be?
I would say to just fully love yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't try to, control things. Just surrender and let it unfold, and really give yourself time and space to emotionally process, and just be who you are and enjoy life. And then that it's all about you loving yourself, and it's about your relationship with the divine, and that never changes no matter what. Even when you're in union with your twin flame physically, it's still precisely the same. That relationship with you and with God, and therefore don't try to like rush or control or shortchange yourself just to get to that place of being in union with your twin, because it's not going to change anything if you get in union. The point will still be love yourself, love the divine, and build a relationship with that. And your twin flame is an extension of that. So yeah. She needs to know that.
It's funny because it's also pretty much the same. It would just be relax. Like, you don't have to make anything happen. It's all unfolds perfectly, and you just go on the journey of self-love, and that's all you ever have to do.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, we have come to the end for today. I want to thank the two of you very much for joining me today. It was really an honor having you and listening to your story. And yeah, I of course wish you all of the best for the remaining of your journey all the way into perfect union.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, yeah, for everyone who has been watching or listening in, if you want to hear twin flame separation and manifest your twin flame union, I invite you to head over to twinflamesuniverse.com, where we also have an absolutely phenomenal 8-lesson twin flame introductory course that is really just absolutely amazing, and will really set you up for success on your journey. And you can sign up for that for free on the website. And otherwise, we'll be back next week with a brand new episode, and look forward to seeing you. And in the meantime, many blessings and much success on your journey.